The Synod on the Family is now officially over. The final document on that meeting includes 94 points and dozens of proposals. Overall, it has a very positive tone, and it gives families a hopeful message. In fact, it invites families to see challenges and hardships as opportunities. Bishops call on Christians to cultivate a hopeful understanding on painful realities like loneliness and marital failure. The Synod concluded that helping people is not the same as telling them everything is okay. Rather, it means having the courage to listen to their pain, embrace them, and seek ways to heal their wounds. One of the proposals that came up time and time again in the Synod is that marriage preparation must be improved. There is agreement that offering only 6 classes before the wedding is not enough. Also, couples who have been married for years should be more involved in helping younger couples in some of the challenges they face. The document also calls for families to foster an ongoing relationship with other Catholic families, not just every now and then, but rather as a firm pillar. Bishops also suggest that parents must be more involved in the sexual education of their children and not leave that up to others. For this kind of education is key, they say, for their stability and for the success of their future marriage. The document adds that teaching compromise and love is essential, especially when it comes to understanding that children are the fruit of love. The document also addresses the issue of couples that aren't married but live together in stable relationships. It says that many of them live in fidelity and openness to life, which are elements of marriage. Thus, they call for special attention so they can walk towards the path of marriage. After the 3-week synod, this is what Pope Francis had to say in his closing statements.
Il primo dovere della Chiesa non è quello di distribuire condanne o anatemi, ma è quello di proclamare la misericordia di Dio, di chiamare alla conversione e di condurre tutti gli uomini alla salvezza del Signore.
For divorced people who have remarried and want to return to the sacraments, the Synod proposes that a priest help them develop awareness through reflection so they can understand their personal situation before God. Specifically, it states that conversation with the priest in the internal forum contributes to the formation of a correct judgment about what hinders the possibility of a fuller life in the Church and the steps that can favor it and make participation grow. The Synod document recalls what Pope John Paul II said: "A person being unjustly abandoned is not the same as a person who has destroyed a marriage." As far as gay people, the Synod states that Christ loved and died for every person without exception. Therefore, quote, "Every person, regardless of sexual orientation, should be respected in their dignity and welcomed with respect, avoiding any brand of unfair discrimination." It also says that one cannot draw analogies between homosexual unions and God's plan for marriage and family. The Synod did not ignore the struggles families face, especially those who flee from war and persecution. Bishops discussed those who had to leave their country to start a new life. The bishops asked that dioceses and parishes work to ensure the dignity of migrants and refugees so that their life is respected. It states they must help them while taking into consideration their culture, beliefs, and traditions. In short, these 94 points of the document are optimistic. It also calls for women to be included in the decision-making process of the Church, that parents not relinquish protection of their family, that grandparents' role and their care is taken into consideration, and that families can find a proper work-life balance.